Hello, horror fans. Welcome back to Jay versus Horror. I am your host, Jay Wall, and tonight we got a special surprise for you guys. We are doing our top five Bill Moseley roles in film history, and I'm also talking tonight with Chad Whitmire, who is an up and coming filmmaker. Chad has a new film that he's getting ready to start shooting. Chad, how are you doing, man? How's it going?
I'm doing great. Just gearing up for the film. Everything's revolving around that right now.
All right. So, what can you tell the folks at home or listening what they're gonna see with this film? What can you tell us about it?
Okay, what I can tell you about it is it's called Barnes Funeral Home, and it follows Anna and Jameson Barnes. They're twins, and Jameson is has been in the mental institution for the last 13 years, and it's their 21st birthday, and she's got a huge surprise waiting for him in the basement. It's actually a girl waiting for him in the basement of their home, which is actually it's a mortuary.
Wow, that sounds pretty awesome. It sounds like it has an interesting start at least. So, you guys are all ready to go. You're gonna be starting in the next couple weeks, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Sounds like a good time, guys. Check out the Barnes Funeral Home. When do you think this might actually get released? You think it'll be like next year?
I want to release it by the 4th of July.
Oh, okay. So there you go. Guys, keep it in mind for summer. Barnes Funeral Home. And we're gonna get started with our top five list. We decided to do top five Bill Moseley roles because Chad is a big fan of Bill Moseley, and so am I. Not so much as like I'm not a huge Rob Zombie fan, but I'm a huge Bill Moseley fan. So it works like that. Uh, I'm gonna let you go ahead and start with your number five pick. What did you have for number five?
My number five is probably going to be Three from Hell.
That's Otis, right?
Otis. I
Yeah.
like all the Otis movies. They're my favorite, but my number five would probably be Three from Hell.
Awesome. I liked Three from Hell. I thought it was for me. I wasn't a big fan of the first two movies, but I thought they got better as they went. And I thought Three from Hell was actually really good. I mean, pretty good. It wasn't like an Oscar-winning film or anything, but it's a horror film. And yeah, I thought the progression of the character of Baby was nice. That they moved her progression. Like she's evolving as a character and stuff like that. So yeah, and Bill has a lot of fun in this one. Isn't the guy that comes in Richard Brake? I love Richard Brake. He's another guy who's just a lot of fun, just scary. He can always pull it off, and he comes in to play Otis's brother in Three from Hell and helps him escape. It's always nice when they come up with new crazy family members that we didn't know about. At number five, I had Frank from Fair Game, 1988, and it's not a huge role, but he's basically responsible for the setup of the film, which is he is commissioned by this rich game designer to obtain a black mamba that is in its mating season. When a black mamba is in its mating season, it has to release venom every certain amount of hours, or it backs up inside him and poisons himself. So that when they're not just biting people for fun or because somebody accidentally tripped over them. They're biting people to survive. You know what I mean? And
Oh, okay.
yeah, so this guy, obtains the snake to put into his ex-wife that he's having a huge divorce with, to put into her loft that he's going to lock her into with the snake, and it's going to look like an accident. Like no one's going to realize that this exotic snake getting in her house wasn't somebody's fault. But the rich guy's not stupid, and he goes through Frank, who's played by Bill Moseley, and it just the first 15 or 20 minutes of this movie that he's actually in, you just wonder about Frank. Like, how dumb is Frank, right? Really, he obtains this black mamba for this rich guy who obviously doesn't want to be connected to it. So that's why he's using Frank. And he's also willing to dispose of his wife with this thing. He knows about the guy. He knows what he like. He's a psycho who plays games with people and stuff. And he knows all this stuff about him and still decides to go along for the ride. And it doesn't work out too good for Frank. He's kind of like the test victim for this guy. He ends up locking Frank inside the car with the Mamba. He gets out and pushes the button, and all the doors lock, and he's stuck in there with the Mamba. And of course, the button also opens the cage that the Mamba is in, and it comes out and bites him. But yeah, it was fun in it. He was fun in it, and like Bill had a lot of roles. He played a lot of stuff, and people don't realize. I don't think you go back and look like just the little part. And I'm not talking about like, yeah, he's had roles where he's had one or two lines. He's had tons of roles like in Evil Dead and stuff like that, where or part of or Army of Darkness, where he didn't say anything really. He was just kind of there in the background. People don't realize how many movies he's actually been in. The Blob, Nightmare Alley, a ton of stuff. But yeah, that's what I have for number 5. What do you have for number 4?
Number 4, I'm just honestly, I'm a huge fan of the Rob Zombie franchise. I'm like you. I'm not a big Rob Zombie fan, but the reason that I am intrigued by it is because of Bill Moseley. I mean, he makes the whole show. So I'm gonna go with House of a Thousand Corpses.
At number 4, the original. Well, the first time we saw Otis, anyway. Yeah, great pick, man. I can't argue with that at number 4. It makes me wonder what you're gonna have at number 1 if you have that one down at number 4. uh, at see where I was at here. At number 4, I have Ricky from Silent Night, Deadly Night 3, and this is a crazy movie, man. I don't know if anybody remembers like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle cartoon, but there was like a bad guy in there named Krang. It was like a brain that had who lived in a glass cage or something. And that's what Bill Moseley kind of looks like in Silent Night, Deadly Night 3. He's got this big glass bowl thing on top of his head. Uh, and you can see his brain. His brain is like kind of exposed a little bit. It's funky, but it's a good movie. Don't get me wrong, it's not a good movie. It's a fun movie to watch. I like all the Silent Night, Deadly Night movies. Not that they are good. Like I said, they are not especially good, but I did enjoy them. So yeah, that was 1989, Silent Night, Deadly Night 3, Ricky, and that's what I had at number 4. So we'll move on to number 3. What do you got for number 3?
Number 3, I don't know if you ever heard of it, but it's called The Graves. It's about the two girls that go into a town,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
he wears the pig nose.
yeah.
That's a
They're
good
kind of
movie.
they're kind of like Kardashian sisters or something, aren't they? Or I mean, that's not who
Something
they are, but that's the way it's portrayed. Like they're
portrayed.
yeah, yeah. It's probably been a long time since I even thought about that movie. That's a good one. That's a good pick. Uh, so at number 3, I had Otis from House of a Thousand Corpses. Is what I had. I like it a little bit. I have. I'm just gonna be honest. I have this one at 3. Well, we'll hold off. House of a Thousand Corpses is the one I have at 3. I like Otis in this one, but for me, this first one is a little. It feels a little bit like they honestly just took Chop Chop's character and
Yes.
upgraded it quite a bit. You know what I mean? Like his intelligence and stuff is upgraded. And Otis has a weird charisma to him. I mean, like he's somebody that you should totally be terrified of or disgusted by, not want to see, but every time Bill's on camera as Otis, he kind of pops. He has like this. I think he talks about you better write some Mark Twain shit on your tombstone or something. Was that in? Yeah, but he kind of feels like that to me. He has that kind of witticism, like a pissed off Mark Twain or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's really smart, but he's also really country and all that. So yeah, that's what I had at number 3 was House of a Thousand Corpses. Where are we at? What do you have for number 2?
I definitely have the Devil's Rejects.
Okay.
That's what I have as my number 2.
And is there any reason why you put that one above the other two?
I put it above the other two because that's where I feel like Otis came into his character and he just blasted on the scene. Like you said about the House of Thousand Corpses, it was like a souped up version of Chop Top
Mm-hmm.
because that's exactly what it was. But he came into his character in the Devil's Rejects, and then that set up for Three from Hell.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. Um. That's what I have at number two as well. I have uh, The Devil's Rejects. I mean, I think it's a better film than the first one. It's not so like off the rails that you know this one has a pretty good story structure and it sticks to it, and you kind of follow them on this bloody road trip. Uh, they do take some scenes here. I mean, there's like Rob says. Rob says he never intentionally took anything from anything. And he says he never intentionally. He doesn't. He says he doesn't even remember watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part Two. I know we both know he does. I mean, like he said that in the past that he's like, no, it wasn't really a. Yeah, man. Well, you intentionally took the guy from that movie and kind of like updated his character. You didn't really change it that much. And also, this just there's scenes in, especially the first one, House of a Thousand Corpses, they look like they're pretty much ripped from Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. You know, like the scene with the wearing the other person's skin on your face and all that stuff. But yeah, I did like it a lot more. I thought it was a lot better film than the first one. So yeah, at number two, I had The Devil's Rejects. Now I'm gonna go with my number one because you're the guest. We're gonna let you go last. And at number one, I have, of course, I have Chop Top from Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part Two. I love the role. Uh, I remember seeing it for the first time when I was a kid and just being like, I was more, interested in Chop Chop than Leatherface. Leatherface is an interesting character, but he's just a kind of a. You ever seen that movie, The Blind Side, with Sandra Bullock?
Yes.
It's kind of like some backwood cannibals found that guy instead of Sandra Bullock and raised him, you know, into a monster instead of a nice guy. But yeah, so I always felt like Chop Chop was, like, man, he just creeped me out, man. The thing with the hanger, the scratching the skin off his scalp with that metal plate, the whole thing, man, he just creeped me out. And the cool thing about this is, just to give a little background, is that Bill Moseley had actually only been in one movie before Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, and he did a thing with a friend of his just on a whim, like wanting to get Toby Hooper to pay attention if he ever made a sequel to Texas Chainsaw Massacre. At this point, it'd been 10 years since the first one came out. No one really expected that he was going to make a sequel to Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But Bill did a video with his friend, where he kind of put on this show and played this character that would have been one of the members of the Sawyer family. And Toby saw that, and appreciated it. And so when it came time to write the movie, Chop Chop was included, especially for Bill, because of the performance that Toby had seen him videotape. So it was interesting. I mean, because he's not Bill's not the greatest actor in the world in some roles. I've seen him play, like, I saw a movie last year or maybe year before last called Boar. It's about a giant boar in Australia. And in that film, it had him and John Jarrett in it, and he plays the dad. Bill plays the dad, and he just seems so out of place, trying to be Brady Bunch dad. And so
Mm,
yeah, it's not always made for him. It doesn't always work out for him. But when he does have the right role, you got to admit the dude is over the top, insane, and he nails it, right? So
he does.
we'll go ahead and kick over to you. I think I know where this is going. What do you have for number one?
I have Chop Top, of course. That's been my all time. Well, my second to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre being my favorite movie of all time. Part two because of Bill Moseley. I just fell in love with him. But another one that I can add that I liked where his character was a little thrown off was the Tortured. Did you see the Tortured?
I don't think I did. Oh, yes, I did, but they don't show him until the end. I mean,
Yeah.
they kind of do, but that's part of the twist, right? Is that they don't really want you to
Hmm.
know who it is, who the character is. Yeah, that one was pretty good, and it had a good cast. And where did that movie go? Nobody talks about that one anymore either. Basically, this couple kidnap a guy who they think abducted their son and murdered him. And yeah, we don't want to give it away, but it's a good film. Go watch it. It's good. It doesn't it's a film that has a really big twist in it that doesn't feel like when you're watching it, you don't think there's going to be a big twist. You just think it's straightforward. This is what we're dealing with. And then you get to the end, and there's this huge twist. I thought it was pretty good. But yeah, all right, guys, that's it. That's our top five picks. We want to hear your top five picks, or if you just have a pick, if you think we missed something, or if you think there's something that should definitely be on that list that isn't. Uh, Chad stayed pretty close with the Firefly family trilogy, and a couple other good picks, obscure picks here and there. Definitely check out the Tortured if you haven't seen that one, guys. It's not that old either. I think 2009 or something like that. So, uh, yeah, we had a good session. And if you guys don't agree, leave us your comments. Let us know what you think. Also, the most important thing is, guys, we want you to check out Chad's new film, which starts shooting May 14th, I believe, is
May
what you told
14th.
me, and should be out this July. So keep your ears and your eyes open, horror fans, and look for Barnes Funeral Home. We're gonna find as much information as we can about it. We're gonna put that in the description of this video so you guys can click and take a look at what Chad's up to. And man, I appreciate you being on. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it too. It's been fun.
Oh yeah, it was fun. We'll have to have you back after the movie drops. How's that?
That sounds good.
All right, buddy. And as always, guys, we will talk to you the next time we have something worth talking about. Bye.